Sir, I just want to draw your attention that there is a breaking news right this moment that Pakistan has bombed in Afghanistan southeastern province coast and 9 people died including children, women, and attack was on a civilian house. Is there anything else you want to put in today's discussion, because I know you are following world's breaking news as well?
Thank you so much, Mr. Kanchan, and of course welcoming Norman Flood Barnes joining us from Washington DC. As he was saying that the US and Russian officials are hosting officials are talking regarding the Ukraine peace talks in Abu Dhabi. So there is some kind of centric from movement away from Geneva and into Abu Dhabi, and not only so, almost more than 600 people have fled to villages in South Kordofan due to worsening insecurity, the UN Migration Agency said, as local groups accused the paramilitary RSF of attacking the area. They said they'll go into a 3-month pause of such atrocities. And of course we have something that is shaking the social media platforms, namely before it was known as Twitter, now it's known as X, as multiple United States accounts are now revealing their location, out of which some of the MAGA accounts, Make America Great Again accounts, are being operated from Thailand, Bangladesh, Nigeria, while a Homeland Security's page is being operated from Israel. This, I believe, is some kind of security risk, and it has taken various debates online. So these are the top that I have on my table.
Sir, United States is a land of opportunity. United States is the country for the immigrants, and United States is only the country where you go and comply their rules, you can be the American. My question is, how might this policy shift affect US international image and its relationship with refugee producing countries?
Thank you so much, Mr. Kanchan, for this wonderful question. I want to begin by saying that the US states, all the 50 states that we know in America, there are some influx of immigrants that are coming from outside, let alone from South Asia or Asia in general, but most of them are from Latin American countries, Venezuela and Colombia, as far as I've known and as far as I've seen. However, most of the jobs, most of the realizations inside America include the fact that they are heavily dependent on immigrants running these social jobs. Some work at Dunkin' Donuts, some work at IHOP, some even work at the Apple store. So this is, of course, adding on to the American economy, and anyone who pursues the American dream, the dream of living at large in America, the world's greatest country, these are the rhetorics that follow when one think about America. But in recent times, and of course in US President Donald Trump's tenure, we see that there have been heavy ICE protests that going on, and the deployment of national troops in multiple states. And one of the biggest examples of immigrant-led population would be New York. Today we are looking at Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani. He's an immigrant from both South Asian and African descent, and recently he had met Donald Trump. And even though they have opposing views, they agreed to maneuver for the betterment, the affordability issue for New Yorkers. I understand that New York is one of the most heavily populated and the most biggest city in United States of America. And I was there for roughly 1 week, and I've seen how the immigrant population is so thriving. There are entire neighborhoods that are full of immigrants from various regions. So once again, I would like to reiterate the fact that they add a huge amount of net worth and GDP to the current economy in America.
Sir, you have heard that United States current administration is reviewing 233,000, it's a huge number of applications as refugee cases. Sir, my question is, how do these changes align or clash with US national security objectives and migration trends?
Thank you so much once again on the same question, or almost relative question. But see, the thing is, this huge number of people who are there, they are designating as refugees. We know that the US has deployed the military in deporting some of these refugees back to their initial countries, some in very inhumane considerations. They weren't given food, they've been tied up, and they've been one of the instances and examples were some people being deported back to India, just our neighbor. So this really just opens up the fact that they are trying to include American jobs, Americans in American jobs, as that's very important for the Republican Party and of course Donald Trump. But that does not mean that you are going to clip so many migrants from other countries. Whether or not they are still refugees, whether they are adding any kind of contribution to the economy must be factored in before they are given the title of a refugee.
Sir, you know, peace talk is going on. 28 points has been submitted by the Donald Trump brokered issue. What are the strategic objectives behind Russia's renewed strikes on Kiev and infrastructure beyond immediate battlefield gains?
Thank you so much. It's a broader question. I want to give our viewers, but the latest is the U.S. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll is holding meetings with Russian officials in Abu Dhabi about a proposed plan for ending the war in Ukraine. So the movement of Marco Rubio in Geneva and then the U.S. military Army Secretary Dan Driscoll in Abu Dhabi, the whole region and the entirety of the U.S. is trying to bring forward a mediation, while Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan told his Russian counterpart that Ankara would continue its efforts to help ensure Russia-Ukraine war ends with just and lasting peace. All the leaders are influencing this such decision. Well, to some extent I understand that US President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin have some kind of nexus between one another. They are trying to, they have proposed a 28-point peace plan towards a ceasefire between the two sides as Kiev is being stricken with drones and missile barrages, while Kiev is also striking Russian offenses into the eastern border. So that is the latest that I have. But one of the issues that we must understand is that Ukraine is the underdog here, and frankly speaking, they are losing out on the fight. Almost 35% of eastern Ukraine have been somewhat taken over by the Russian military as a result of this confrontation. And Donald Trump is trying to see that it is better for now that you concede this land or let go of this land on your eastern flank, so that we can assure you that no further Russian escalation can happen on the mainland or the remaining parts of Ukraine. And of course, on Volodymyr Zelensky's end, he is being met with different stance from Washington ever since the start of Donald Trump's tenure. So I would want to say that this war is spiraling out while all the regional players are trying to find an end to this massacre.